What is up, guys? Ninja Nick back with another round of the Japan Champions League. We have Rapid Strike here on the left, one of my favorite decks of the format. A very interesting one. Not so much one of my favorites recently, but during NAIC I did play this to 163rd, I think it was, versus a Giratina Lost Box deck. This Rapid Strike deck does have a pretty decent match win percentage wise against any Lost Box variant. I think the one it struggles the most against is the Kyogre, because the Kyogre can always just take 6 prizes in a turn late game if they softened up 2 VMAXs, which isn't too difficult for them to do. So you definitely have to play your Cheryl on the optimal turn in order to kind of get around that. But the Giratina version doesn't really have too much legs to stand on in this matchup, because you just rapid flow to the bench twice and then you yoga loop them, and then they don't know what to do after that. They can knock out one of your 3 prizers with Star Requiem, but they can never knock it out with Lost Impact unless they soften you up first with like a Sableye or Greninja or something. And usually by the time they can piece that all together, you've usually won or been able to Yoga Loop once or twice. The Yoga Loop is really the key thing that makes this deck good. The Medicham has an attack for 2 colorless energy, also known as 1 Rapid Strike energy. Can do 2 damage counters to one of your opponent's Pokemon if it would knock that Pokemon out. With that, you do take the next turn, so you actually effectively skip your opponent's next turn and just go ahead and take another one. They are the Rapid Strike Pokemon. That's why they have that Rengeki text on the top right corner. In English, it is Rapid Strike. I guess Rengeki means rapid. I don't know. I don't read Japanese. Both of these players 5 and 2, so I'm assuming they can't take any more losses at this point in the tournament. Are those Chibi Mew sleeves? Yeah, those are Chibi Mewtwo sleeves. Those are adorable. Has the Master Ball in the back. Kind of reminds me of that Sylveon sleeves we saw in a previous round with a Mew VMAX deck. But I don't remember the Sylveon being like Chibi necessarily. I think it was just like a love ball that it was in. But anyway, off topic, we are going to go ahead, and it looks like we are nest balling for a Comfey. This way we can maybe switch into that and flower selecting this turn. This player on the right does not look super happy, so maybe his hand isn't that great. We do see a Jet Energy. That's not too bad. And we do see a Chorus's Experiment as well, so I'm not sure what's wrong with the hand. We do see a Switch Cart and a Psychic Energy. You could theoretically get rid of either of those. It's fine. I think keeping the Switch Cart is pretty good, because if you can get another couple Comfey down, maybe you can get another couple abilities off with the flower selecting. So that Rapid Strike energy that is on the Inteleon right now can only be attached to Rapid Strike Pokemon. It counts as 2 energy that are both that are simultaneously water and fighting energies. So 2 water fighting energies. So it can fulfill 2 water energies, it can fulfill 2 fighting energies, or it can fulfill colorless energy, of course, as any energy can. Looks like we are getting rid of our own Manaphy. A little bit surprising, because that's one of the cards that we really need in this matchup in order to try to keep pace. Of course, it is pretty easy for them to pick it off and Yoga Loop it, but it really does protect your Giratina V-Star from being able to be hit by the G-Max Rapid Flow of the Urshifu. Urshifu's attack for basically 1 Rapid Strike energy and 1 Water energy does 120 to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon, so you can knock out 2 Comfeys at the same time. If you've used a Double Gunner, you can knock out a Radiant Greninja. You can just use 2 different Rapid Flows to start setting up damage on the Giratina, and then Double Gunner and Yoga Loop and stuff to finish it off. The Inteleon VMAX has the ability Double Gunner, It allows you to discard 1 water energy card from your hand in order to do 2 damage counters to 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon. And you have a Radiant Alakazam that allows you to move up to 2 damage counters from one of your opponent's Pokemon to another one during that turn. During every turn. And then, of course, we already explained the Yoga Loop. So that is why this deck is so powerful. So, looks like we do attach a water energy to the Inteleon V. Is a little bit surprising of a way to do that, but since your opponent lost on their Manaphy, you know that you can just start racking up damage counters on the bench with the Aqua Bullet attack, the second attack of the Inteleon V, and they are not in a position to where they can knock out Inteleon V with anything. So the Aqua Bullet is actually surprisingly the more optimal attack right now with how your opponent's board state is set up. So it looks like we are going to use Chorus's Experiment yet again. We're going to be able to Lost Zone 2 cards. And oh my god, 3 water energies off of this. As well as the Battle VIP Pass. Yeah, definitely Water and Battle VIP Pass going to the Lost Zone makes the most sense here. You probably only play 3 water energies in total. So I think here you probably bench the Giratina and then just attach the water energy to the active and Abyss Seeking, allowing you to take 2 of the top 4 cards, put them in your hand, and put the other 2 in the Lost Zone. So that will be 7 cards in the Lost Zone. You can use Mirage Gate on the next turn, so you can start using those Giratina V-Stars and maybe actually doing some relevant damage. So this is still not the worst spot in the world for the Giratina deck to be in. But what 2 cards do you Lost Zone from here? I think maybe even consider the Super Rod. I think you can definitely get rid of the Comfey for sure. You don't really want those low HP Pokemon in play at this point. You have enough cards in the Lost Zone. Just win off the back of your double Giratina if you can. So here comes an Urshifu down. Your active already has plenty of energy cards attached to it. So you could always just attach one of those energy cards that's in your hand to the Urshifu. I think probably the correct play would be put the Rapid Strike energy on it. You could use the double gunner of your Inteleon VMAX on the bench, and then still just do Aqua Bullet, I suppose. Although, I think you really want to be taking a knockout on this active this turn if you can, but I don't think there is a way that you can do that. So it looks like we are going to attach a water energy. We're choosing not to use double gunner this turn more than likely, because I think it was only that 1 water energy in the hand, opting to keep the Rapid Strike energy in hand just in case. That hand is really dead from the Inteleon player, so this is definitely the correct play, is just going for the Aqua Bullet. We're going to be able to do 120 to the active and then 20 to the bench. So that is 160 on the active. We are getting there. But we are not quite there just yet, and this is the Mirage Gate turn. So if we can see an evolution to the Giratina V-Star, we could potentially start swinging this game back into our own favor. We could Lost Impact the active, and then Star Requiem the next Pokemon that comes up, and then be 1 prize card away from the game. Just use, at that point, you should have 10 cards in the Lost Zone, because you'll have 9 from 1 Lost Impact, so you just need to maybe find another Chorus, or the 1 Comfey that you now have on the bench, in order to get that last card into the Lost Zone, in order to use Sableye after that to pick off the Remoraid or the Octillery that it will evolve into. So, gonna use Switch Cart will actually heal 30 damage off of this Giratina. That could be very relevant, especially if you're going to attack with the other Giratina this turn. So we'll have to see if we can piece together that attack. We do find a Roxanne and a Path to the Peak. This is an interesting decision. I think you get rid of the Path to the Peak here. Your opponent is definitely bricking, so I think that if they do take enough prize cards, just using Roxanne to put them at 2 is just a better situation because it helps your own hand as well. I don't believe you've used concealed cards yet, so you can use your own concealed cards here to draw 2 more cards as well. I think you might want to use your Mirage Gates first, as long as You don't, as long as you have the energy in deck to use at least one. And it looks like, oh, they're telling him to, wait, oh, no, he lost zoning one thinking that he's using the Comfey, but no, he's using the Greninja. And we're going to find a Cramorant here off a Nest Ball. We could always just retreat into that and do a solid 110 damage. If this evolves into a VMAX, you could always just Lost Impact for the knockout there. And then after that, Star Requiem, the next VMAX that comes out. And then that is the game as well. So, not too bad. This is going to potentially force a Cheryl out of your opponent. And we are remembering that they are kind of bricking. So, probably not going to have the Cheryl and Evolution this turn. They'd need like Cheryl, Evolution, Rapid Strike energy. Or they could, instead of the Evolution or the Rapid Strike energy, they could just have Octillery instead. That would work equally as well. Looks like we are going to use our Ultra Ball to find the secret rare Shiny Octillery. Searching our deck for any one Rapid Strike card. That will be the Karina's Focus. Karina used to be a great card back in the day. Furious Fists printed a Karina that has the same effect as Irida. Irida is a spiritual successor to Karina. It searched for one fighting Pokemon in one item card, but this new Karina, Karina's Focus, with the Rapid Strike text on it, does allow you to draw until you have 6 cards in your hand. So a lot like Bianca of old. Bianca was always a bad card, pretty much. Nobody really likes a card that allows you to draw until you have 6 cards, but if you can search it out with an Octillery, that makes it a lot better. Not having to use something like a Luminion for it makes a card that's a little bit suboptimal, and just being a draw until you have 6 card a lot better by just being Rapid Strike. Now we have a decision. Do we retreat into the other Inteleon? Or do we Aqua Bullet again? And I think he's choosing to Aqua Bullet again. That will take the knockout. We can put 2 damage counters somewhere else. I think to the Comfey is correct, because that gets you that much closer to Yoga Loop. And I think if you want to win this game, you will have to Yoga Loop at some point. And again, because this Inteleon deck is bricking, essentially, they're not in the best situation. But honestly, they're still not in a bad spot. They're 2 prize cards ahead. They're winning. And because they did not evolve the active into a VMAX, they're not afraid of the Giratina V-Stars just yet. These Lost Impacts will be knocking out 2 prize Pokemon. So this player on the right with the Giratina deck is going to have to go for a potential 2-shot. No, they're gonna have to go for a the win over the course of the next 3 turns. Which, if you incorporate Yoga Loop into the mix and Gmax Rapid Flow, that gives your opponent plenty of time, the Rapid Strike deck, plenty of time to be able to piece together the win before you can do that. So here comes the retreat. We will go into the Giratina, and we're probably just going to Shred. I don't think we have the Evolution, and even if we do, is it even worth putting it down on this Giratina? I think it's more worth it putting it down on the other Giratina. Here comes the Super Rod. We will be able to shuffle some energies back into the deck. We do have exactly 3 energies in the discard pile, so might as well do it now. Put those 3 different colored basic energies back into the deck. If there was only 2, I'd say maybe wait and hold it for the next turn after your Giratina gets knocked out, but it's perfectly fine to do it now if you already have the 3 energies in there. Benching yet another Giratina V. This player definitely knows how to play this matchup. Just go heavier into the Giratinas and try not to bench too many low HP Pokemon. Like, as soon as his Comfeys came out of play, his one Comfey came out of play, he made sure not to put another one down until he felt like he absolutely had to. And here comes another Mirage Gate, is going to put an energy onto each of these 2 Giratinas. So we are one more Mirage Gate or one more attached return away from either of those being able to Star Requiem. So we are going to take our first 2 prize cards of the game. We are going to be able to knock out that Inteleon V. Taking 2 prize cards, going down to 3 remaining. This Giratina deck doesn't really play Sky Seal Stone, so we're not going to be able to see any sort of Sky Seal knockout on the Inteleon V Max. I don't even think that there's a Pokemon you could use Sky Seal Stone with. I guess maybe the baby Giratina, I suppose. Like if you like lost impacted a 3-prizer and then they didn't get Sherald, and then you go in with the Shred with the Sky Seal Stone. That would be hilarious, actually, if that was even a thing. So we are trying to Rapid Flow this turn, it looks like, or Yoga Loop, one or the other. I think we did already discard our Radiant Alakazam, though, so I don't think Yoga Loop is in the picture for this match right now. I think we're just going to have to try to solo run this with the Urshifu. Now the key is, you can definitely take 3 prize cards with the Urshifu this turn. You can knock out the Greninja or the Comfey, plus the Giratina that has all the big amount of damage on it. Yeah, the active Giratina along with either the Comfey, the Sableye, or the Radiant Greninja. Now, which one is the most threatening? You could always just put the damage onto one of the other 2 Giratinas. But then you're only taking 2 prize cards and you have to take your remaining 2 prize cards off of something. And I'm not sure if that puts the Giratinas within too good enough of a range. But if you do go down to the 1 prize remaining, it does allow your opponent to play INO to put you to 1, and then you're going to have to rely off your second Karina's Focus. We are going to go for the Research here, so already having the ability to go for the Rapid Flow here. We could also just see Rapid Flow this turn, and then just winning off of the power of Double Gunner maybe next turn. Yeah, and you could still Yoga Loop as well. So there's multiple ways that this Rapid Strike deck could still piece it out. So I like the fact that we're getting some more basic Pokemon onto the bench. We even get the Forest Seal Stone down, so we have a V-Star power that we have access to here. So we could choose to either knock out the Sableye along with the Giratina, or we could choose to... Oh no, we're not going to Rapid Flow at all. We're going to just return the energy to our hand and knock the active out, leaving ourselves at 2 prize cards remaining. Actually, that is a lot better of a play, because now your opponent has to have the boss's orders to bring up the Urshifu V Max and Star Requiem it. And that means they can't INO, and they can't Chorus's Experiment either. So beautifully played by this Rapid Strike player here, this entire game. Even though they were just kind of bricking the whole time. And the player on the right did play it very well as well, but just, unfortunately, the draws on the right were just too poor. So we're going to Jet Energy the Sableye into the active, and then INO? Okay. I guess we're trying to find Mirage Gate and Giratina V-Star. And then have a way to retreat the Sableye, I suppose. We found Giratina V-Star. And a Switch Cart. And another Jet Energy, because that deck plays 4. But no, nothing else. And just a pass of the turn. And now we can just retreat and Rapid Flow both of the 1 prizers to take knockouts on both of them, taking the remaining 2 prize cards and winning the game. So a very clean game for the Rapid Strike deck. And that is it, guys. Do not forget to comment, like, and subscribe as listed above. It's really important for the YouTube algorithm. Because the algorithm is my boss. It tells me whether I live or die, metaphorically, of course. And we will see you guys next time.